Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Vicky. Vicky wins. All right. Good morning, Vicky. Thank you. Anybody? Good morning, Vincent. Thank you. And I know, Vincent, you were here for a while. Thank you. Good morning, Jean. Thank you. Good morning, Amelia. Good morning, Melanie. Who else? Awesome. Awesome. Good to see you. Good to see you all. Good morning. Yes. Okay. Oh, more.
Before we start, I have several questions and concerns, okay? So the first one is when I was doing the homework 4, the last section of the problem when it asked you to look at a website,
Yes.
I didn't know how to answer that,
That's
so
a
I just left
mistake.
it blank.
Sorry. Yeah, that's my mistake. I'm sorry. I meant to send around a stream about that's an error in the homework. That's totally my mistake. I apologize. That's from it. The homework was written a really long time ago, and for some reason I keep trying to change that, and I keep bringing up the old. That is totally not your. I just need to take that out. We don't have that website anymore. I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't worry about it.
And then my next concern is that I tried to do a 5-step method for certain questions, but certain questions I just couldn't do a 5-step method for. So I just answered it as is.
Huh. That's interesting. Okay, I appreciate the question. I might be able to address that in more detail when we get to the actual questions,
Okay.
but maybe, but it's a good enough question. Can you give me a quick, so I might not fully answer it right now, but let's try. Can you give me like a quick example of one of the questions where you couldn't?
Yeah, let me just
Okay.
find it.
And I'm right here. Let me just plug something in. I'm here. I'm gonna not leave it. So.
Question. All right, so under the section acceleration and direction 1, I would say part D, I couldn't do a 5-step method for it. I just answered it. And
Oh,
what else? Same thing for same under the same topic, acceleration direction 1 part A. I just answered it as well.
oh, good morning, Gabriel. Good morning. Wait, like, so, oh, I think I know the ones you're talking. I mean, okay. So, like, when there's a bunch of parts A, part B, C, and they're all like repeated exercises, like, I think I know the problems you're talking about. So, if
Mhm.
it says, like, yeah, I mean, if there's a bunch of things in a row that are like drills that are the same thing in a row,
Mhm.
it's okay to do the 5-step method like for the whole thing as a package, like, or put it
Oh,
another way, or yeah, or even like do the 5-step method for like the first one kind of in detail. And then if there's like repeated exercises, like then you can say essentially C above, C above, C above, if that makes sense. But I do think, wait, hold on, let me just let this person in. Like the ones you're talking about are you're talking about like if you don't mind, again, just for people who are just joining. So Melanie's asking on homework 4, like certain places where it feels like you can't, where it feels like we can't do the 5-step method. So, so read that first example that you just, could you just read the question out loud so we all know what you're, and I'll.
yeah. Hold on. Yeah, so in the acceleration and direction 1, it says in 2 to 3 sentences, discuss the relationship between speeding up, slowing down, and the sign, negative or positive, of the acceleration, et cetera, et cetera. Because I know you mentioned, you said you wanted us to do a 5-step method for each
Oh,
problem. So
oh,
when I was reading this, I'm like, I don't know how I will do a 5-step method for part D. So I just left it as is by answering it.
Okay. Oh, that example. Okay, I was thinking of the wrong example, but okay, that example. And again, and don't get me wrong, I think when we literally start going over this one, I'll show in more detail what I'm about to say. But
Okay.
I think in general, even for that, like I see what you're saying, even for something that's like purely English. Wait, sorry, even if it seems purely English or purely like you're just thinking about it, I think still you could draw a picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Draw, and the key thing to the picture there, which we'll talk about there, the key thing, even if it's just a really simple, like it's like a little car, with like it's like a little car or something, but you would put underneath the car, the key label that you would put for a picture like that is like an arrow going to the right saying plus and an arrow to the left saying minus. In other words, the key label you'd be making for that car is like what direction you mean to be positive and what direction you mean to be negative. So that'd be okay. All right. And that'd be your diagram. And again, super simple, but the key thing behind all diagrams is that the labels define the terms of the problem. So there, your labels are like positive, negative direction. Wait, just letting more people in. Then, so that's step one. Then step two, you literally, you would really this would be where step two is kind of important and doable. You would put it in your own words, my question, right? So, like, you might even just scrawl out something like example where, like, example for object accelerating negatively. Yeah, even just like, I've almost forgotten the question again, but something like example where object is accelerating negatively, but not slowing down, or however the question put it. But
Mm-hmm.
okay. So that'd be like part two.
And
Then,
then,
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
sorry. No, you can continue. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Because then I think here's where I'm really going with this. I think, and I think this is a great question. Again, I'm even going to repeat it because I know people are still coming in. The key to Melanie's question, she's asking, it seems like there's questions that come up or problems that come up in homework 4 and other homeworks where it really doesn't seem like you can do the 5-step method. And again, I'm like, I think this is worth taking a couple of minutes on. And again, to everybody, well, my answer will be even more detailed when I like walk you through specific examples when we get to them. But I would say even these questions, like the one we're doing right now, that seem like they can't do the 5-step method, what I really think is like, if you step back, you'll see that step one you can totally do. Step two, totally do. Step three now is where you might think like step three is possibly the most important example of a step that you would think you can't do, but forcing yourself really to do it is what really starts to make you better at physics. So in this case, I would say step three, GDP, would be literally writing down the definition of average acceleration, or like even in equation form, maybe in especially in equation form. Like now I know we haven't gotten to this equation yet in the class, which is why again I'll do this like in more detail. Like I know we have to go over homework 3 first, which we'll do, but like the equation of that sheet that is trying to teach you is a bar triple equal sign v minus v naught over t. I would totally write that down as step three. I would even say to everybody, to Melanie and everybody, that writing down the definition in equation form is often the key to or realizing what definition or equation is the issue, even when a whole question's in English or the whole question seems like an arbitrary exercise. Like that's like maybe even the key to the whole 5-step method is finding your step three GDP, which I'm basically saying I feel like sometimes it's really hard, but the harder it is, it's probably the more important and probably very possible. So I would write that equation down for step three. Then step four, and I'll wrap this up in a minute. I know this is probably more than you wanted, but then step four for that question, like it can be very Englishy now. Like you could be like logical and say, because of this equation above, I feel like here's an example. And because of this diagram above, I could do an example now, that shows, and again, that shows something can accelerate positively without speeding up, or however the question exactly said. And then 5, like circle your answer. So I guess 2 points. I think step 3 is probably the hardest, but the most important, and it is doable. And step 4, possibly one thing that was concerning or confusing you, is that maybe it's coming across I might be making it sound like step 4 always has to be a bunch of computation and math and algebra. I don't think it always has to be that way. By the time you get to step 4, it could be English. But the real thing to the whole method is it's like a zooming in, like, or zooming back and forth. Like zoom in on what the problem is with the diagram and step 2, then zoom out to something that's true and necessary for the problem, then zoom in into the problem itself with whatever your truth is, and then 5, you've zoomed back out to the question and solved it. Does it? I know that's probably longer than you wanted, but does that sort of address what?
Yeah, that makes sense. But also for the last part of the homework, averages and midpoints.
Oh,
How was I supposed to draw like draw a diagram for that, or do like the 5-step method for it? I think I did.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
right. That's a really good one. And believe me, I promise we're going to talk about that one a lot
Okay.
soon. I mean, we do have to, but I think, okay, but you're right. Diagram, even for there, you're probably right that the diagram is more like lists of numbers. Like
Right.
yeah, you're right. I don't think there's very much of a picture going on in that one. That's unusual.
Mhm.
Okay. And yeah, I guess my fast answer to that too is as we go on, like this will happen sometimes in physics 204. If a problem looks, well, I'll just leave it at that. Like occasionally you're right. The picture might not be that. If it's pure numbers, then the picture is still pure numbers. But that won't happen a lot in the future. But you're right. That one's trickier. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. No, that's a great. Oh, wait, there's things going on in the chat. Sorry. Let me just get the chat. But to everybody again, we're going to go back to, oh, oh, okay. There's things in the direct chat too. And this is good. I'm glad that people, oh, wait, and sorry, I didn't say good morning to certain people. I don't think I said good morning, or maybe I did. If I didn't say good morning to Amelia, I'm sorry. Good morning, I mean, and good morning, Jean, and good morning, Melanie. Like that, the agenda for today in a moment is homework 3, train of thought, like in a moment. Well, yeah. Hello, screen. Okay. Yeah, the agenda in a minute is to go over train of thought, homework 3. And then we'll get to homework 4. It may seem like I'm starting to fall behind you. You may all feel like you're like now getting more and more significantly ahead of me. Like that's true. But it's also true that don't worry, we're gonna take a break soon. If it's not tonight, like you're not gonna have new homework for a while until I catch up to you. So please know that I know that. And it's always like this again, that you have to do things, think about them before I go over them with you. But I don't want that to go, like, I don't want you to be like weeks ahead of me, of course. So so we're about to deal with homework 3, but I really appreciate, and there's something in chat I'm not forgetting. But I appreciate, notice like you all say good morning to me first or hello or whatever. And that's like, I love that. And that's cute. And that's points and everything. But also part of the whole point of that, of why like we start with good morning, before like I dive into my agenda is absolutely meant as a icebreaker thing to encourage things like what Melanie just did. Like I just want to make it clear, even if it's a little confusing right now that I just did all this talking about homework 4, it's because someone asked a question. And I really would rather that it work like this, like that more that can come from you guys. I mean, especially on Zoom, like the more that you're telling me what you need and we can get into things from what you need and then go to what I want you to need, like that is the better. It's not inappropriate that Melanie just started the class with, and if I can't, if we're in a, I'll say it, but I'm really pleased that people are getting more and more comfortable just like starting off with, well, hold on, this is where I'm not clear right now. So that's good. Number one, long story short, please don't think that Melanie or I am like off the topic right now, or that we need to get back to class. Like that was class. This is class. I hope people were listening to her question. It was a good one. There's one more in the chat, therefore I'm going to do, like, I want to deal with your business before I deal with mine, is what I'm trying to say. So there's one more question in the chat I'm going to deal with. But then also I'm going to clarify, like once I'm getting back to my agenda, it'll be about homework 3. Then we'll get to homework 4. So we're probably not formally starting homework 4 today. I know that homework 4 is a big leap. Like homework 1 and homework 2 were like, okay, like, yeah, you figure out like to get the definition in the sheet, but you do it. Homework 2 had like, I mean, just see the trend. Homework 1 was fairly straightforward for many people, but then the last couple of questions, maybe you had to think, but hopefully you understand them now. Homework 2, fairly straightforward for a lot of people, but then the last couple, like you could think they were straightforward, but it turns out it was possible to get them wrong. So, okay, that's a little bit more challenging. Then homework 3 seems like a left turn. It doesn't even seem to feel like anything that we're doing. I'm going to try to show you today that it does have to do with what we're doing. Then homework 4, just to be clear, homework 4 is a big leap. If any of you in the room, like including Melanie or not Melanie, if any of you in the room were like, I'm kind of with this class, I'm kind of okay with the class, and then homework 4 felt like it hit you like a ton of bricks, all I could say is you're not alone. You're not crazy. Don't be mad. Like, yes, homework 4 is a leap up. We're still going to get it together. If you didn't, if you got a lot of it, but it's starting to seem more and more like you don't know what you're doing on your own, or you're like, he hasn't said anything about this yet. That is all true. The principle is that homework 4 should still follow from the logic of homework 2, like, and the definitions you're given in the sheet should still be in principle enough to logically build toward, and of course you're always allowed to look on the web and blah blah blah, but in principle homework 4, you don't need any new information other than what you were practicing in homework 2 and the information given in homework 4. So it's physics and it's like fair, but it is hard. It's definitely a leap up. If you suddenly felt a little bit rattled or like, wait, what's going on with this class? You're like every other student that's taken this class for years and years. And we will go over it, and you're going to start getting more used to it, and you're going to start getting more used to like how to try to figure things out on your own first. But just I don't want you to feel like you're crazy or you're missing something or you're out of step or be too mad like, wait, something unfair just happened. I mean, it might feel unfair, but just remember again, this is why you have plenty of time to like do drafts and resubmit to get all the points eventually. So if you feel like the course just it's starting to get a little bit intense, you're right. You're right. But you'll be fine. Okay. So bear with me. We're going to get to homework 3 today. It's going to be a little bit different. Then we'll get back to homework 4. And as far as I know, if I assigned homework 5 for Wednesday, let me know and I will change it. I'll postpone. Like that shouldn't be. You should have a little break for everybody to catch up wherever they are. Okay, if that's clear. So again, in a minute we're gonna get to homework 3, but there's things happening in the chat. Okay, hold on. So right, okay. So first of all, there's a question like about someone forgot to turn in homework 3, the thing that we're about to go over now. 3, yeah, I mean, sure. Well, yeah, so certainly you could still turn it in. That's always the case. Even if it's late, you can still turn it in. Soon we'll get to the point, maybe, and well, I mean, homework 3 might already be this point. You want to start assuming now, all of you, that on any homework, no matter how hard, you can eventually get all the points on it if you revise and re-upload enough. And you can assume that there's not really a strict deadline on that, as long as you hand in the first draft on time. Like from here on in, let me be clear. I may or may not give you all the points on homework 3, the person that's asking this, but yeah, from here on in, you could get all the points on a homework as long as the first draft was handed in like on time. And then I follow the revisions from there. If the first draft is not handed in and that will often be on time when it's due, like for homework 5 or 6, will be probably way before I'm saying anything about those equations in class. Like that's why you're trying it on your own. So as long as you try something thoroughly and responsibly on your own on time, then all the rest of the points can get added to it and you get full credit. But if you don't hand in the first draft when it's due from like here on in, I'm saying this to everybody. If you don't hand in the first draft when it's due, it doesn't mean I won't take it. I will take it. I'll take it. And you'll still get a ton of points. But if the first draft doesn't come in on time, then I may cap the amount of points that you can get. Like you won't get all the points for it. You won't get all the points if the first draft isn't okay. I just hope that's clear. Wait, it looks clear. Okay. I'm going to start enforcing that with homework 4, not 3, but that's just okay. But you can always turn in the homework and you can always get the bulk of the points. The issue is to do it. Okay, so that, oh, and then finally, oh wait, two more questions in chat. Okay, all good questions. Then someone's asking, yes, this applies to a lot of people. But actually, wait, let me back. Two things. One, I should have put the following in the stream. Yes, in homework 4, I do make this mistake every year. There's something stupid. There's something like old, historical in the homework that just doesn't mean anything to our class anymore. And I don't know why I keep not taking it out. Somewhere in the homework it says like, please refer to the equation on the website. Just ignore that. I apologize. Like, or maybe I'll just ignore that for right now, or I'll print out an addendum that tells you the equation I'm talking about. But right, we don't have that website anymore. So my bad. I apologize. But then, so you won't get points off or anything. But then there's a question in the chat. For homework 3, I put a private comment to the person. Now, this applies to a lot of people. That's why I'm reading this out loud. Sometimes if I say to you, please make a standalone document or standalone doc or self-sufficient doc or something like that. And then sometimes I'll even add underneath like step 2, WIQ. Like, what do I mean by that? And if I write that, again, yes, it might mean that you got a ton of points, but you didn't get all the points. And I'm asking you to do that so that resubmit so you get all the points. By standalone doc, a very good question, very important question. But it's the purpose of the whole 5-step method. Standalone doc means what you want, especially by the time you get to an exam. Like this is all practice for the exams. What you want is to give me a document that stands alone, meaning something that that any person who knows physics can read and follow from beginning to end without looking at anything else, like without looking at the original assignment sheet, without being in the class or whatever. So the whole purpose is like you're turning my assignment sheet into a blue book. Like what you're handing in is like a blue book, even if it's homework. I mean, it's not literally a blue book, but you're handing in your own sheets of paper where every sheet, every page makes it clear with step 1 and step 2. It makes it clear what the situation is and what the question is that I'm asking, and then guides to an answer for that question. So your goal yes, it's practice for exams, but then the practice for exams are practice for like real physics. Your goal is like you're making a little article that you could publish in a physics journal where someone could just read it and be like, oh, if a car were going down the highway at this amount of speed, and then like I needed to, it's like a little proof of like how to solve a problem of a car going down the highway, solving for the speed, or like whatever the situation is. Your physics is your homework, you're trying to make it standalone physics. Every exercise is really just a mini derivation or proof of what the physics would be of a given situation. So stand alone. So that's your ultimate goal. You'll know you've done a good homework or a good exam if someone who just knows physics but isn't in the class could follow the whole thing. They might not find it fascinating. Like maybe you're not really discovering something new because like I gave it to you as homework, but you're just producing the physics analysis of a general physics situation. This is particularly important because I'll shut up in a second, but like as we especially get into physics 204, the numbers are going to disappear more and more. Like, which is why Melanie's concern about that number question is very legitimate, but she's not actually going to be that concerned about it after a while, because more and more we're just going to be doing all these equations where we don't even care what the numeric values are. We don't care the specific facts. We're just trying to figure out what's the physics in general for these types of situations. So you're practicing making physics that's just physics, that just literally is interesting and correct on its own, even if it's not 100% original, like even if it's been discovered before. So standalone, and so that wraps back to like, you're not handing in my original homework sheet. You're not copying and pasting my homework sheet. You're trying to turn my homework sheet that was like a physics prompt into your own little physics essay, so to speak. I mean, it's not really an essay. It's a proof. It's a derivation. So standalone doc means you want to believe that I know I'm like bop, 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 bop. But it's a good question for everybody. And especially when we get to exams, your standard is, could you give this to your lab professor? And I'm not saying do this, but imagine, could you give your homework to your lab professor, even if they don't remember what the homework was that week? And like, could they help you with it, or to the MSRC for that matter? And could they follow what you're doing and comment on it, even if you didn't have the homework sheet? And ultimately, sorry, the, another way of putting that standard is, can I grade your exam or your homework super quickly, but fairly and thoroughly? Could I give comments on your homework as quickly as possible, get it back to you as quickly as possible, but as fairly and as thoughtfully as possible without me having to scramble back and forth between what you wrote and like what I originally wrote? Like, yeah, at this point, I remember a lot of what I read, but even like Melanie's question today, like I knew what she was talking about, but I don't literally off the top of my head know what question 4 is or question 7. And that's why it's not good enough in the homework to be like question 7, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what question 7 is. If you want stuff back quickly, and fairly, you want me not to have to scramble back and forth between 2 documents doing it. So it's standalone physics. Sorry, I'm taking way too long on this. I know, but yes, I wrote that on a lot of people's, and people are still getting used to that. So it's like so yes, that, and hopefully maybe the person. Okay, and I'm gonna move on in a second, but maybe the person that asked me that could let me know in private chat whether I have answered it, even though I probably answered, like, I probably, went into extra innings with that. But good point. Now wait, so then there's a follow-up in direct chat. Oh, great. Thank you, first direct chat person. Awesome. Submit that for points. I appreciate it. And it is a good question. Okay, now there's a follow-up from a different person in direct chat. When it comes to having separate work in a notebook, do you want us to rewrite questions on the doc? Well, this is so the question says, do I want you to rewrite questions on the doc? Yeah, like in your words. Step 2 is really important. Yes, I don't ever want you to copy or paste or include my versions of the question. I already like know, I mean, I could look those up myself if that's what I wanted. I want you to take my questions and rewrite them in your words. I don't know if that's answering, but okay, great. Okay, cool. Um, and really, okay, I'm gonna move on now. But if any of you who's like done physics before in high school or if you're thinking like that, I'm reducing like college physics to, if you're insulted possibly or bored that it feels like I'm like reducing college physics to like 7th grade. Let me tell you 2 quick things. Number 1, all this business about like step 2, what is the question? It's coming from personal experience from the second time I was in graduate school, like when I did a dissertation, like a doctoral dissertation. Like it was such a big deal. It's so much more important than it seems. It's real business, or for posters and conferences and stuff. Making like you translating the question into your own brain and then spitting it out on paper is like such a crucial part of the scientific process. I promise. In other words, please don't take this as like baby stuff or condescending or something. But then the second thing, hopefully you'll see more and more, is the real secret to physics in the background. The real secret to getting smarter at any level of any of this stuff, the secret to getting smarter and smarter and smarter is learning how to, I don't want to say, but I will, like dumb down for ourselves. The secret in doing hard physics is learning how to make it easier for ourselves. We're not trying to make things harder. We're trying to take things that are hard and make them easier on ourselves so that we can do them. That's how you do harder things, is you make them easier. So please don't be insulted by any of these. Like, all of this is me trying to show you like how to get through graduate school. Like what blah. All right, but you get it. You get it. I know you get it. So I'm gonna go. All right. So okay. Now, I'm just looking. So we're good to move on. It looks like. All right. I'm just gonna assume. So we want to move now to train of thought. Homework 3. Definitely a left turn. Yeah, definitely a left turn. It seems, and now that one you definitely back to Melanie. Definitely can't do the 5-step method really for train of thought. That I know. It's more of an exploratory discussion thing. What I want to show you today, like why we would even be doing it. What does it have to? And if you handed it on time and you made a standalone doc, like if you just made an attempt to give me something where I could follow which question you were on when, then you got all the points, and you still got because it's not like mathy. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put you for a few minutes. I'm going to put you in breakout rooms, random breakout rooms, I want you to basically trade your main answers in the breakout rooms with each other, discuss a little bit. I'll put in the chat, your main, just for a few minutes, and we're going to come together in the breakout room. Hold on. Oh, wait, so, oh, okay. Oh, great. Okay, so this is what, so in the chat, hopefully you can see in the chat, I just made like five quick or six quick instructions. And you're gonna, again, I'm saying this is quick. This will be quick. Like we're not doing this for the whole class. Well, you're not going to be breakout rooms for the whole class, but this probably will take 15 minutes or so, maybe 20. So you're going to go into these random rooms with like three persons in a room, three people in a room. And the agenda is like, just find out for me. Well, I guess you should probably start by making sure that at least one person is like the secretary or representative. Like one person's going to have to come back and report to the rest of us. So like agree that among yourselves. So then among yourselves, just first find out like who said, yeah, you remember in the train of thought, we're talking about homework 3. I'll probably share this. I guess I'll share the screen in a second. At first it said, after the scenario, it says like, are you moving or not? So just find out who said what, like what were the basic answers to that? Like get a head count of, and you can group just like how many people said yes, how many people said no, and how many people said something else. You can group all the other things as just something else. So get a basic head count of who thought the train was moving, who thought the train is not moving, who like said we can't answer that definitively, and just briefly discuss, like get a sense of like why did people say what they said, so you can report. Then, did anybody change their answer at any point? When I mean any point, I mean within the sheet. Like at some point in the sheet, like white lights are introduced, and then it asks you again, right? And then later, I think something else happens. Like if there's any point at which with new information in the sheet, if someone changed their answer, I would like to know that. So get a head count of if any, how many answers. So that's kind of a one option or the other. How many answers changed at some point ever, or how many answers did not change. Okay, so you're getting that head count. And then yeah, and then discuss that. Like if one person changed their answer at this point, they should be able to explain, like, well, this is why. And so you're not arguing. You can, if you want to have fun, I mean, you can argue with each other. You can definitely like try to persuade each other. That's fine with me, but you don't have to. Right now, you're just like collecting the information among each other. If you're done quickly and you want to like try to change each other's minds, feel free. What I'm really asking you to report though is like what you came to believe when you were by yourself before you did this. But anyway, I think so. I'm going to go to breakout rooms in a second. Can I just get a show of electronic hands if it's clear what we're about to do? Wow, that's all right. Awesome. Annie got the update. Okay, I got to learn how to do that. All right, that's everybody. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Vanita. I did see Gabriel. Oh yeah. And then, oh wow. Okay, hold on. And I saw. All right. Thank you, everybody. There's also wait. I want to get someone in the other class does that thing where she, do you all know this? There's now an update where someone like has a animated version of her face, like a Bitmoji kind of thing, but it like, I don't remember what you call this. And it totally moves while she's talking appropriately, but it's not her. It's an animate. Like, I think that's, I don't know how hard she had to work to make it, but like, whoa, my mind's a little bit blown by that too. But I'll take Andy's animation for the moment. Totally just made my morning. Okay. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. Okay. So here come the breakout rooms. And I'll be in and out, or I'm still like here, but whatever. I won't be in your breakout room unless I, okay. Okay. So as soon as it says your breakout room, please go. Hi, Amelia. So we're in breakout rooms. I think I just assigned you to one. They'll explain when you, but if you don't mind, if you're hearing me, if you could join the breakout room that I just assigned you to, I think it's room 3. in the chat, I'm sorry.
the day. Isabella was the one that introduced me. Like Isabella was like hardcore doing it. And I was like, okay,
Hello,
I'll
Hi,
Professor.
Professor.
Oh my God, he did it. Hello. Sorry to interrupt, but first of all, he did it. Oh my God. I need to learn about that later. Wait, sorry, hold on. My activity stats. That's amazing. Okay, yeah, I won't distract you now, but you got to tell me about that later. Okay. But I think Mariam, someone just invited me into,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, some question. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we finished discussing the assignment.
Oh,
We've come up with mostly, we agree with most of them. We have a little disagreement on one of them, and then that's pretty much it. We have a disagreement on one of the questions.
Okay. So you got all you're ready to report to everybody else. You got all what you actually had a disagreement on one. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'd love to, I don't know how long I could stay before it, but I'd love to hear. Yeah. Where did you have a disagreement?
On whether the light is moving closer to us.
No, it's just gonna be so outside my mind.
Very cool.
That's so
Okay. That question. And yeah, I don't want to, I mean, this is part of the purpose of this whole thing is to get out the disagreements. But so wait, that question, whether the lights are getting closer to you, was that one of the times where it also asked right before, like, are you getting closer to the lights? Did it ask it both ways?
Yeah, I did.
All right. So I'm curious. I'm just curious. We may or may not get into this whole group. If you disagreed on, are the lights getting closer to you? Does that mean, I mean, you might not have asked each other this, but I'd be curious to know whether you also disagree, whether people said the same answers to the reverse version of that question. Well, all right. So basically, can I ask this? Who said, and I'm not trying to expose you or anything, but who of you said, yes, that lights are getting closer?
I said that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too. But then like I walked through it and I was like, maybe it's no. Because when Annie said that, I think Annie said that it was no, right?
Yeah, I put no. 'Cause I thought they were
So
getting
then,
far away from.
yeah, I tried to I tried to think of a reason why she would think it was no. And then I thought about it and I felt like, okay, maybe the answer is no.
So let me ask this. And again, some of these, it's about the discuss. There's not necessarily right or wrong answers to all of them, but there is like a consistency thing. Like, I guess I'm curious if Annie said no, you originally said yes, and maybe thought about no, and
Yeah.
Gabriel said yes. What
Yeah.
did you three say? Okay, so what did you say to the other, even if you didn't discuss it? But it said,
Shouldn't it be yes?
like, did you have the same answer to the flip version of the question when it said, are you getting closer to the lights? Like what, like, I guess I'll just go one.
Yeah. For me, I had the same yes. I put
Yeah.
yes for both.
Okay, so each one of you had the same answer regardless of which way the question was phrased. Is that
Right.
No, I have different.
okay? So Annie, you have no, the lights are not getting closer to me, but yes, I am getting closer to the lights. Is that correct?
Hold on. So hold on. I'm sorry. Because I forgot how I put my answer, but I think when they asked like, are the lights moving? I said, there's not enough information. But are you moving closer to the lights? I said no.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So that is what I'm asking. That is so I'm not going to fully resolve this like right here in the room right now. Like, first of all, you're all doing the right thing. Let me put it this way. Like, just like you're totally all doing the right thing, both in terms of like, if this were an exam, you'd get all the points. Also, like, as far as the larger discussion, you are totally following the directions correctly. And I don't think any of you is like confused or anything. But what is interesting, right? Like the thing to listen for when we go back to the main room shortly, the thing to listen for is what I'm ultimately saying or not saying about these pairs. Like there might, it's possible that the lights are moving. but it's also possible the lights are not. Like, I'm not saying that one of you got that right and one of you got that wrong. I don't necessarily know off the top of my, but I think there is like a right or wrongness too. Could it be possible for the lights to be moving and could it be possible for the lights to be moving closer to me without me moving closer to the lights or vice versa? I'll put it one more way. Like, this is the thing to think about when we go back into the bigger room. Another maybe clearer example, and I even see why Annie's getting, but like, it's hard to remember even what we wrote, even if we wrote it. But like a similar thing with the whole 14th Street question. There's at some point in the whole thing, you're like, it says, are you getting closer to 14th Street? And then it asks, is 14th Street getting closer to you? Do you remember this? Like, it's somewhere in this, you might not have discussed it right now. What is important to ask yourself is, do those two answers have to be locked together or not? Like, is it possible for a train to get closer to 14th Street without 14th Street getting closer to a train? And one way you might say absolutely is, well, wait a second, 14th Street doesn't ever get closer to anything. What do you, like, Yaverbaum, what are you even talking about? I mean, if a train's getting closer to 14th Street, fine, like the train's moving to 14th Street, but a 14th Street can't move closer to a train. Like, that might be one way of thinking about it. But another way of thinking about it is like, wait, if they're getting closer means less distance between the two. If there's less distance between the train and 14th Street, then there's less distance between the train and 14th Street, no matter which way you put it. Like, so 14th Street is getting closer. Like, I'm babbling once again. I this is what's going to come up in the larger group. The fact that you worked out your that you realize you have a disagreement is great. The fact you told me is great. The fact you're finished is great. In fact, I think I'm going to leave in a second to bring everybody else together. But watch when we discuss, or watch when I get to my final conclusion, watch what it tells, what you think it means about these pairs of questions. Am I making any sense? Am I making?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. But like I also just thought about the idea where like you can have technically you can have 14 streets getting closer to you, like because I never like thought about this before, but Gabriel just mentioned like the earth is also rotating. So let's say if you're in the helicopter, right? And then you're just like you just fly up and but you like a hummingbird, you just stay in the same place. And then you wait until the earth rotates. So you wait until 14th streets get closer to you by the earth's natural rotation. So technically you're not moving, but like, you have 14th streets moving closer to you.
Okay, so you guys did have a big discussion. Even wow, all right, you're getting into all right. I hear what you're saying. Right, so that is going to come up in a way, yes. And I mean, that's good. I can't really. It's hard to take Gabriel very seriously right now with the thing, but yeah. I want to see my challenge to Gabriel is can he bring that cow into the live version of the class onto? Oh wait, it's okay. But yes, the Earth. Okay, that's. Was it really hard? No, I'm not going to ask. Okay. The Earth thing is very important. Yes. All right. So you guys are doing great. I'm going to go back to the larger group and one of you is still going to, I now know what you all said, but they don't. So still one of you is going to have to report. But that's great. And then later you're going to tell me how you did the anime thing. Okay. Or the animation One Piece. Okay. But thank you guys. Hold on. Let me just go back.
You're muted, Professor.
Thank you. That's weird. Why does it do? Okay. I like how the ice caps are getting closer to the grass, but the grass is not getting closer to the ice caps or whatever, or the mountains. Those backgrounds are great. We have to do one of these immersive things soon where we're like all in. Have you done these before? Like the immersive background where All right. Anyway, I mean, those are pretty immersive, but okay. Okay. So we're all coming back. We're all coming back. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for doing that. All right. Now, as usual, of course, I'm talking so much that I'm taking up my own time and we only have 15 minutes left, which means I'll warn you right now, it does mean we will continue this on Wednesday. So I will readjust the homeworks and that's fine. That'll be worth it. We'll get to homework 4 on Wednesday. But we're still going to talk a little bit about this before we get to homework 4 on. So I will look back at the homeworks. If something is due, or I'll just tell you right, like definitely homework 5 is not due Wednesday. I don't remember what I said in the thing. I'll look at it, but for sure you should not be doing any new homework for Wednesday. Maybe you can, in fact, could someone just put me in the chat right now? Well, anyway. Yeah, I'll just try to remember. So now I want to hear quickly, even if I don't say a lot, let me hear. I know let me go backwards from breakout room 3. Can I have a representative from breakout room 3 just casually report to the whole group? It'd be great if you want to put on video for this reporting. Like, you don't have to, but just report to the rest of the room in group, basically what happened in breakout 3, like who said what about what and what.
Wait, Professor, who's 3?
Who is 3? Good point.
Who's breaking?
Not you guys. I'm sort of intentionally going backwards because you guys are 1. I just heard from you. Group 3, good point, is Jean, Melanie, Vanita, and Amelia. So if someone from that group, and I kind of thought we were all going to appoint someone at the beginning, like a secretary or a reporter or whatever, but scramble now, please. I would like to hear somebody from group 3 report to the rest of the room, like basically what happened in their group. And then I'll do group 2 and then group 1. Not group, room. But could someone please from room 3 report? This is awkward. I'll give you a minute to think about it. I'll go to group 2. But guys, I thought this was was this not clear? I thought this was the idea. Room 2, does someone want to report? That's Hudson, Vicky, and
Yeah.
great. Thank you, Hudson. Awesome. Thank you for stepping up. Okay, go for it.
No worries. Yeah, so our group, to answer the question initially in part 1, we said that that the train was moving, assumed under normal conditions, because like we're going from 59th Street to 14th Street, and assuming it's going in that direction, and sometimes you might not feel the train moving when it's in motion. But also the question that we said could also be posed is that there was not enough information initially, until we go and move on to part 2, where it says that the lights appear to be moving backwards or like in a certain direction uniformly. I don't even know if it said backwards particularly, but we assume that, since we're going from 59th Street to 14th Street, if it's moving backwards, like that the lights would kind of indicate that we were in motion. Or it could mean that the lights were moving and also the train was moving, but I guess assumed under the normal technology of the trains that it would just be the train moving and the lights kind of indicating that by going backwards. And do you want me to answer all the questions through it, or just give them?
You don't mind? Yeah, you're doing great. This is exactly. If you don't mind, yeah. Wait, I think you almost have answered all the. Wait, you answered. Yeah, if you have more to say, go for it. Yeah, take your time. Say anything you want to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like what was the next part? Sorry, I'm just pulling it up. Yeah. So, and we didn't believe that the lights were getting closer to us because if we're moving towards 14th Street and they're all going uniformly in one direction. Well, actually, that's a good question too. We initially said that no, but I guess on the second thought, like it could also be both yes and no, because we did also say that as well. Like one of us did, I think, and I think it might have been Vicky. But yeah, that it could be go yes and no because um the lights could be approaching us from the front of the train, like if we're moving forward, um and then seem to be going in the opposite direction because of our motion. Um and I guess the rebuttal that we've come up with it, um sorry, but our initial statements that the train was moving, um, is that it could also not be moving because you have no indication if the lights aren't initially there, or and the windows are uniform and the ground and the ceiling look the same, then it could be that the train is not moving at all, um because there's just no real indication of what's going on. um and for the second part to that, um with the lights moving, I guess, yeah, in terms of constructing a rebuttal to the lights moving in a certain direction to indicate the motion of the train, um, I think that the only rebuttal to that could be that maybe other trains, have lights or something, and you're seeing the lights of the other trains just passing you by. Uh, but yeah, that's it.
No, that was very, no, that was good. That was a lot. That was very thorough. If, all right, so if I understand correctly, well, it sounds like you had rebuttals and debate and like not, and people had different points of view on different things. It sounded like, and it sounded like almost any time, whether this was just you or your group, it sounded like for almost any time you could be confident about emotion, you could see it another way that like every time you're confident that it could be the train moving, you could sort of see how it could be the lights moving or vice versa. And it sounds like, if this part correct, it sounds like some people at least did change their view of the motion once the white lights were introduced. Am I right about that? That like, I mean, I don't know if you have a head count or a vote, but it sounds like the number of people that thought the train were moving did change at some point in the sheet once it started talking about the white lights. Am I understanding that correctly, or is that totally?
Yes, yes, that I feel like, yeah, that's what happened.
Cool. Okay. Okay. 1 second. And in the end of the day, since you're the one with the that you're reporting, and I know we have to move on a second. At the end of the day, do you have a definitive opinion on whether the train is moving, or like you personally? You could just speak for yourself. Do
Oh
you?
yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like personally for myself, I thought that the train was moving initially, just assuming because we're going from 59th Street to 14th Street, and like under normal conditions, I mean, I guess I don't know if I should apply this logic, but usually they would say like when the train is not moving, or like in the speaker. I mean, I don't know if that's the right logic to
Oh,
use, but yeah.
yeah. No. No. Any right now. Any logic that's logical. I mean, if you wait, sorry, someone's trying to get in, but I can't remember if the person's in. Wait, this is a really weird question. Sorry, I'm looking at my rot. Do you guys know is if Andre is in this section? Um, does that sound familiar? AND. Okay, okay. Um, right. No, your logic is. I mean, that's great. I want to. I know we're really running out of time now, and I apologize. And I've heard from one group even privately, even if I didn't hear it in this whole group. So I want to make sure to hear every group at least myself, if not the whole room. But again, I want to tell everybody else, it's not obvious that there's a right or wrong answer to. Oh, it's Vicky that did that, right? Was it Vicky? Wait, wow, no. Oh my God. So now she was. So you guys are figuring this out. Oh my God. Okay, I'm so distractible. Um, I wanted to be clear that right now, a lot of these questions, there's not one obvious right or wrong answer. On the one hand, like I'm not, the goal of this whole story at the end is not the train is definitely moving, you all missed it or something. No, but there is a point to this whole thing. There is a point. It's not just random exercises. Now, I'm beginning to see more and more. I'm not going to get to the point today, I don't think, because I still want to hear from all of you before I do. But just bear with me. It's not clear right or wrong, but it's not random either. So I've heard from group 2. Thank you very much. Can I circle back to group 3? Is there anybody in group 3 that can possibly step up? And I know we have also heard from Melanie today, which is great. So, I mean, Jean or Vanita or Amelia, is it possible that you can say anything about what happened in breakout room 3?
Yeah, we were talking about how at first we thought that the train was not moving. But then we thought about it because since there's like no bumping, I think it said. So there's like no chance of it moving, but then we were thinking that maybe it could be like a silent train that doesn't like need anything like that for it to be moving.
Right.
So we decided that there's not enough information to decide if it's moving or not. But then towards the end, when we realized that there's like lights passing by, it does indicate movement.
Okay. Keep going. I don't want to interrupt, but keep good. Do you want to keep going?
Yeah, so yeah, I just want to say that in the end we decided that it is moving.
Okay. That seems consistent with what Hudson was saying before. And it seems like a clear, straight, concise slice of what Hudson was saying before, that it sounds like your group also, it was unclear, like basically at first it seems like, well, this train's not moving. There's no evidence. In fact, this is a summary.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like what I'm hearing a lot from, oh my God, Gabriel's out of control. Oh my God. It's like, okay, this can't be, okay, sorry. I'm definitely opening up a portal for that, guys, by the way, Vicky and Gabriel and anybody else. A theme that I'm hearing throughout, and again, hopefully within 3 minutes, we're going to hear from group 1 publicly. I'm cheating because I already sort of know. Anyway, a theme that I'm hearing throughout is that at first it doesn't seem like there's positive evidence to suggest motion. Like at first, we don't seem to have any information. Like we're sitting, there's no lurching, there's no bumping. So at first, people are saying it's not apparent that we're moving. Probably we're not moving. But then people start thinking, well, but I mean, we could be moving without feeling it. Like that is possible. Like people are saying, hold on, do we actually need evidence to suggest that we're moving? Or even if we were moving, would there be evidence? Could we be moving without evidence of it? People start thinking that. Then a lot of people in general in this room start saying, I think I need more information. I think I need more kind of evidence or something. Then the white lights come in. And a lot of people in the 2 groups I've heard from so far, and frankly, in group 1, it seems like the white lights start making a difference to people, not to everybody, and not a deal closing difference. But it seems like people are like, all right, it doesn't feel like I'm moving, but I don't think I have evidence that I'm moving. I kind of want more evidence to tell me whether I'm moving or not. Then people sort of realize, like, I don't know what kind of evidence would actually do it. Like, oh, the white lights seem to make a difference. Maybe that's the kind of evidence I'm looking for. So people start saying, like, oh, I think with the white lights, that kind of means I'm moving. But then it seems like, again, apologize to group 1 that they're not going public right now. But maybe we'll start with them on Wednesday. But it seems like across the board, people then get to the white lights and they're like, but hang on, even with the white lights, it's confusing. Like the white lights, that definitely seem to indicate something is going on, but I can't fully tell whether it's me moving past the white lights or the white lights moving past me, right? The big point, since we only have 1 minute left, two things I'm gonna throw out to you right now is one, yes, notice that even to assess whether we have motion or not, we seem to need something else to compare it to, right? Notice to even discuss really with confidence whether the trainer is moving or not. It seems to help a lot of people to have something else to compare it to, whether it's another object or what you would call, and I see that it's 12:05. I'm going to wrap this sentence. It seems like we need something else to compare when we're assessing motion. And the question on the table that I'll pick up with on Wednesday. So we're going to continue this on Wednesday. We're not going to go yet to homework 4. So just catch up wherever you are. But the thing to go to is, once you have something to compare motion to, how does that answer the question? Like, once we know train compared to lights, what does that mean we actually know about the train or the lights? And there is an answer to that I'm going to give you Wednesday. In fact, it's sort of written on the board right here, but it's abbreviated so you can't make sense of what it's saying. I mean, well, the answer is ultimately something called Galileo's principle of relativity. That's where this whole thing is heading. Just so you know, this is not just a mess. The resolution of all these questions is something called Galileo's principle of relativity, or in other words, GPR, the red letters on the sheet. That's what I'll expand on Wednesday. Sorry to jumble the time like this, but have a nice night. No new homework. Have a nice night. I'll hang out I love the animations. I'll hang out for a second, except the other class is coming in, so I'll have to make it quick, but goodbye.
I have a quick question about the homework. You didn't